Incredibly important to give calls to action while you're live streaming to get your audience engaged. We're looking to get them to take action, whether it's to leave a comment or to subscribe or to go and do something or to check out something that you're offering. Our goal here is to get them to take several small steps during the course of our conversation leading up to the big important call to action at the end. Now we know when it comes to live streaming you can give these little small calls to action like leaving those comments as you are going. Throughout the course of the conversation, you can call them into the conversation to respond to you in ways leading up to that big CTA at the end. Now this is all about taking the big step to subscribe or to download your freebie or to join your newsletter, or maybe it's something bigger like making a purchase or something else. We are training them throughout the course of our conversation to take that next step, whatever it happens to be. So while we're on air, there are a couple of really good and effective things that you can be saying and doing to get people to take action while you're live streaming. Let me break down 6 of my favorite calls to action so that you can implement them while you're live streaming to get them ready to do the big things at the end of your streams. Now, one of the most popular and effective is to tell them to hit the subscribe and notification bell. And this might be your big call to action at the end of your live stream, but you can also use this to sprinkle it in throughout the conversation when it's natural inside of your live streams. So let's say you're having a conversation and a question comes up where you know you're going to be discussing this in an upcoming live stream or video that you're posting on your page. You can naturally and easily tell them, this is coming up soon. To make sure you don't miss out on it, go ahead and hit that subscribe and notification bell so that you're notified every single time that I'm live and you don't miss out on the bigger answers to this. You can also do something like letting them know that you've got videos that drop every single whatever day of the week it is, and hit the subscribe and notification bell to not miss out. You can remind them that you've got this weekly live stream that you do, remind them of the day, the time, the place, and to hit that notification bell so that they can be a part of it, because while replays are amazing, it's so much more fun to be able to speak to you in real time and have those conversations with you and get your questions answered right now while you're on screen. So make sure that you are implementing this when it feels natural. Don't be salesy about it, don't make it like a pitch, but you want to make sure that when it comes up and when it's going to be helpful and beneficial to them, you do drop that. It is not a bad thing to remind them to hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, or even a like button so that they are taking those small steps leading up to your big conversations. But there are so many more types of things that you can be implementing into your calls to action inside of your live stream. So let's take a look at the next one. And we want to make sure we're making this incredibly easy for them. The less that they have to do, the more likely they are to take that next step. So while you're having conversations, you're going to tell them to type a specific keyword into the comments. Now, pro tip bonus here. If you have your bots connected to your scheduled live stream, you can tell them to type a keyword and it will trigger your bot system if you set it up to deliver a freebie or a link or have them take a quiz or do something else really cool inside of their DMs on Facebook or wherever you happen to be. So if you have that set up, bonus points for you. You've just elevated your live stream. But you can also just tell them to type in a keyword to answer some type of response. So let's say you're having a conversation and you want to know if it's going to be a hard or an easy thing for them. So is it difficult or is it going to be easy for them to do this, create this, whatever? Have them type one of those words in. Or maybe you are asking them a question and you want to know something like, what is your favorite season? Just type in that keyword. Is it summer? Is it fall? Is it winter? Is it spring? What is it for you? So you're having them type in a 1 or 2, maybe 3-word keyword down into the comments just to let you know where everybody stands with this. And this is very easy because they don't have to think, they don't have to type out a full sentence, they don't have to process the information. They can just give you that 1 or 2-word keyword that you have requested into the comments, and that makes them feel like they're active and participating and getting them to take those small steps for you. And in keeping up with this theme of making it really, really easy for them, you can ask yes or no questions. Now, when you're doing this, we have a tendency to just ask the question and move on. You have to actually direct them to do this. So if you're asking a yes or a no question, remind them over and over and over again in the course of like 1 minute or 2 minutes that you're actually looking for this answer. So tell them what the question is and say yes or no. Is this yes for you or no for you? Let me know in the comments, and we're going to move forward depending on what everybody is saying. There's no right or wrong answer, but is it a yes or is it a no? Making sure that they have the ability to just type yes or no. They don't even have to decide if it's going to be 1, 2, 3, or if it's going to be something else. They just have to say yes or no to your question. This makes it incredibly easy and helps them to take those steps forward. Asking questions during your live stream is incredibly important, but you also want to make sure you're starting this off from the very beginning, getting them involved and interactive with your content. So as you are just jumping into your conversation, you are introducing what you're talking about, I want you to welcome people to your live stream and to specifically request that they let you know where they are joining you from. This is just giving their location. They are from Scranton, Pennsylvania. They are from New York City. They are from Phoenix, Arizona. It's nothing complicated. They're not giving away too much information. They're just going to pick a city near them and say, I am from this state. I am from this country. I am from this city. And they're going to let you know where they're joining you from. This is a really great way to let people introduce themselves and say, yes, I'm here on your live stream, and gives them some way to be proud and to represent themselves from where they are located. People love letting you know where they're joining you from, especially if you shout it out. So if you're implementing this at the beginning of your live stream, 100% shout out as many people as you can as you're jumping in, but do not waste time, because remember, the majority of your views will come from the replay, and if you spend 10 minutes shouting out every country on the globe, you're going to lose your audience. So as you're talking, as you're having those conversations, in between the important sentences, just shout out somebody. So when you're jumping in and you're having that introduction, you're going to start calling out people just one at a time, one or two at a time. So let's just pretend we're introducing today's topic, and I'm having this conversation and I am letting you know what we're going to be talking about. I see that we've got people joining us from South Carolina. I see that we've got people joining us from Florida today. Hello, Florida. We're going to be talking all about this, and this. So you're just kind of shouting it out as you go, as a natural part of the conversation. You can interrupt yourself just a little bit, but only shout out a couple of people at a time. And then continue with the important content, because you do not want to drive away your replay audience because you are shouting out everyone from the live stream. So let people know that you're actively looking at those comments, you are engaging with what they are saying, and you're shouting out when people are speaking to you, which acts as a reward, which encourages people to then continue to communicate with you while you're on your live stream. And on a similar note, you want to make sure you're continuing these calls to action throughout the course of your live stream. So you have something to welcome them with. You have conversations to have with them during your dialogue, but you also want to make sure before you get to your big call to action that you are engaging people right up to the very end. Remember, we are taking them through this process of engaging with you. We're starting small. We're having them introduce themselves, yes or no questions, one word, keyword responses. We're building things up. Now we're conditioning them to take a slightly bigger step at the end of your live stream, right before the big call to action. You're going to ask them what their biggest takeaway from today's conversation was. This makes them think. They're gonna have to write a sentence or two. They have to process what you've said and understand that you've taught them or helped them in some way today. You're asking for those takeaways, and the people who have already been engaging with you systematically throughout the course of your conversation are much more likely to take this step. And when other people see them doing this, they're going to get in the correct mindset. Even if they're not jumping into my best takeaway, they will be prepared for this next final step with your big call to action. So you want to make sure that you are asking, what did you learn today? What are you taking away from this? And bonus pro tip here, if you find something that someone says is really, really good or really constructive, you can actually reach out to them and ask if you can use that as a quote on your website, on your marketing materials, on your social media. If somebody says something really good and valuable, you can even spin it off into an IGTV video, a YouTube video, or another live stream so that you can build upon what people are learning and show proof that people have learned and benefited from this, and here's how to take it the next step further. So ask what they've learned. Get that down in your comments and help them step forward into your big final call to action. And of course, there is one really important call to action that you want to make sure that you're leveraging while you're having your conversations on your live stream, and that is to get people to take action to bring other people to your event. I always ask, who needs to be involved in this party? Or who needs to see this live stream? Who needs to be a part of this? I'm initiating that movement for them to share my videos. I am getting them to talk to their friends and say, you should be over here. I'm getting people to tag their friends, their business people, other people in their industries who need to have these conversations with me. I'm getting them to market on my behalf. So I frequently shout out, who needs to come to this live stream? Who needs to check out this replay? Who needs to be a part of this conversation? Who should we be looking at to bring on as a guest? I'm asking them to tag people, and I'm asking them to shout it out and to share it. And I frequently use the word party on a lot of my platforms. Who needs to be involved in this party? Because we don't come to parties alone. Good friends bring their friends to the party. I always make sure I'm shouting out that good friends are bringing their people to helpful and beneficial events. I'm putting this status of you are a good person, you're making good life decisions, or you're a good friend if you are telling your friends about this. If this is something that can help them, I'm reminding them you should let them know, you should bring them over, you should elevate yourself up, be that cool person who has all the knowledge and all the connections, and bring people over to something that's helping you and could help them as well. So you want to make sure that you're calling that out in some way, shape, or form, and you're going to tailor this to your business. So it could be a little more friendly, like bring your friends to the party, or it could be something a little bit more business-like, so that you are bringing people who need to be hearing this or should be learning about this or who have gone through this, bringing them to the conversation. Who could add to this conversation? You don't even have to ask them to bring people to your event. You can say, who among your business friends could add to this conversation? Who can speak to this? Who has experienced this? Who's been through this? Who can add to this discussion even if they haven't been through something like this? So there's a lot of different ways that you can frame it, but it all boils down to a call to action to remind them they should be telling other people about your live stream, whether it's sharing, whether it is sending the link out after the fact, whether it's tagging them, or it's shouting people out. You are getting them to realize that they shouldn't just be experiencing this on their own. They should be sharing this with their friends as well. Now remember, we are using these small calls to action to train your people, to up-level them throughout the course of your conversation. Your goal with this is to get them to take small steps of action, so that when you get to the end and you ask them to take that bigger step, whatever it happens to be, it could be subscribing, it could be joining your newsletter, it could be buying a product from you, it could be booking a free call with you. Whatever it happens to be, make sure you know what it is before you ever get into your live stream. Have it set in mind, have words that you can put up on screen if possible, so that it is reflected on screen in your branding, that they can clearly see it. So they're hearing it, they're experiencing it, they're reading it, they're seeing it. Get it up as much as possible on that screen so that they know what the step is to take. One big call to action at the end. We've had a lot of little things on the path along the way. Now you're getting them to take that one big step, and you want to make sure you're telling them why it benefits them. So always make sure that they know why it's a good step to take, why it's the logical next step for them to take, and how it's going to benefit them. And make sure that you are very, very respectful of their time, of their information. You want, if it's for a newsletter, to tell them that you're not going to spam them. Be very clear about how often you send things out and how valuable it's going to be to them and who it's a good fit for. Not everybody is going to be a good fit for your big call to action at the end. So be aware that you've conditioned people to take these small steps so that they can be very, very easy and very unstressed about taking your big step at the end, but not everybody's going to take it because it's not going to be a good fit for everybody. So always, always, always lead up to that big call to action at the end and help them along the way by giving them the journey of those small steps, having those conversations with you, doing the liking and subscribing, and whatever it happens to be to bring people into the conversation as well to lead up to that big step. If you want more information on calls to action or how you can be implementing them in your live stream, go ahead and drop me a question down below. And here we are at my big call to action. Hit the subscribe and notification bell, because here at Livestream Action Plan, we are helping you to elevate what you're doing in your live streams, to build community and conversation, and get yourself more clients, which is what we're all hoping for, right? So hit the subscribe and notification bell, because I am dropping 2 videos weekly every single week on Livestream Action Plan, and I'm helping you with done with you live streams so that you never have to worry about the content that you're doing on your live streams ever again. Fill in some blanks, go live, do your thing. So stick around, because I'm breaking down everything you need to know to make sure you're leveling up your live streams. Did you take that call to action? Did you do it? Did you hit the button? Because now's the time. I've guided you along the way, and now is the time for you to go ahead and jump into this conversation. I'll see you in the next video.